Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is my review of Uncut Gems. Uncut Gems is the latest film from the Safdie brothers, starring Adam Sandler, in a film that follows a jeweler who places some high stakes bets while he's on the run from collectors. We follow him as he tries to balance out all of these different folks he owes money to while trying to win in the biggest bet of his life. So clearly, this movie was getting a ton of buzz. It has received a lot of awards nominations, particularly for Adam Sandler, which is a sentence I don't think I ever expected to say, but here we are, 2019, Adam Sandler, a serious contender for Best Actor. And for me, the trailers looked good, but I was never entirely sold, if I'm being honest. It seemed like a film I should see, but not one I was particularly excited to see. But doing my due diligence as we ramp up for award season, I knew I had to see this opening day. Very interesting Christmas Eve watch, I'll say that. And ultimately, I thought this was just okay. So let's go ahead and kick off with our positives. Well, I do think Adam Sandler is, in fact, very good. Now, I don't know that I would put him in my personal top 5 male lead performances of the year, but this is a far cry from anything Adam Sandler has done in well over a decade. He was very good. I particularly loved when we got to see the quieter moments of Adam Sandler in the film and his character, and really get to see behind the scenes of what this man was going through. But he fully blended into the character. He was believable as this like hot mess of a guy, and it worked. The rest of our cast is also very solid. Lakeith Stanfield is always reliable, and he's just as reliable here. Idina Menzel is good, though her character is not, but she's good in the role. I also think the film builds up tension as well as you can with the material. That's what I'll say there. When we're building two moments throughout the film, which happens several times, we kind of have these building and building and building until something happens, it works pretty well. And it's definitely aided by the musical selections, which I also think were very good. And I guess in all of that, they do a nice job of balancing all of these different, like, minor story threads of, okay, so he's trying to get this to this place, but he needs to pay this person, but in order to pay that person needs to do this and do that. It's a lot going on, and sometimes it is quite a bit to keep track of, but the movie itself, I think, does a good job of at least addressing it all. But that's about it for me and the positives on this film. I'm gonna be honest, this movie just kind of gave me a headache. So let's go ahead and talk about the negatives with Uncut Gems. I just referred to that headache, and honestly, it's because this film is just so loud. Always. It starts loud and it is like on full blast for the entire first act of this film. It is unrelentingly just brash and in your face and loud. And it was too much for me. I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't even really invest in what people are saying. Sometimes I can't even understand what people are saying. There's no real conversations happening. Everybody's just screaming or running around. The music is blasting my face off. What is going on? It is too much. And again, probably why I appreciated the quieter moments we received that much more, because they come few and far between. This movie is just so loud, so brazen, and just right in your face constantly. I've heard people saying it's been like borderline giving them a panic attack. I guess if loud things make you go into panic mode, this will do that. But the film itself didn't have like a great suspense to me. It didn't make me feel like on the edge of my seat panicked because of, the dealings on the screen. It just gave me a headache because it was so obnoxious. That's a good word to sum it up. Obnoxious. And I mentioned in my positives, it does what it can with the material to build up like the suspense and this tension, the thrills. And that's because you don't care about any of these characters. I mean, they're all terrible. Every single character in this film is terrible. The girlfriend is the closest thing to not being just a straight up terrible person, but she's an idiot. So you're like, who cares? Adam Sandler's character is an idiot and he's terrible. He's not a good person. Idina Menzel's character probably is a good person, but she is such the shrill wife stereotype that you're like, okay, well, there's not really messages. There's not really anything redeeming. I guess ultimately the message is when you get into shady dealings, don't be shocked when you get dealt shady. And that's pretty much this movie in a nutshell. I don't know. What was the point of it? I'm not sure. And I'm sorry to the Safdie brothers. I loved Good Time. This film's ugly. I don't think that it's necessarily poorly directed, but it's certainly one of the ugliest films I've seen, honestly. The cinematography was just so blah, in my opinion. We open really strange, we end the film really strange, and there was no need for it. There was no need for how we open and close this movie. I didn't really understand why they decided to go those routes, but I guess if you've always wanted to see what Adam Sandler's colon supposedly looks like, yay, you got your wish. But just in general, the shots are ugly. The framing is fine at best. I just don't think it's all that well directed. It's not really all that well shot. And I don't think the editing is all that great either. So across the board on all technical aspects, including the sound mixing, the soundtrack is awesome, but the the sheer level of noise is just too much. It overpowers dialogue, it overpowers everything else, and really distracts, honestly, from what is happening. So in the end, I kind of just checked out with Uncut Gems. It was so obnoxious and in my face that I was immediately put off by it. And then these characters just offered nothing, just nothing to pull me back in and invest me in this story. So I was really just kind of along for a ride. And unfortunately, this time around, I didn't enjoy this ride like everybody else seems to. So for me, this is a rental. This is probably Adam Sandler's best performance of his entire career. It does make for a good kind of like money dealing thriller, kind of like skeezy feeling thriller, if you will. But if you decide to go out and see it in theaters, just make sure you bring some headache pills. Excedrin headache, extra strength. So that is my review of Uncut Gems. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on my latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see Uncut Gems, or have you already seen it? If you have, what did you think of the film? Let me know either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.